What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including: is CM Punk returning to WWE? Punk's actions toned down? Are AEW erasing CM Punk? A top WWE feud continuing? More CM Punk drama set to leak? And much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, first story looks at: is CM Punk returning to WWE? Now, top story today takes a look at the fallout from CM Punk's AEW firing as we examine what's next for the controversial star. Yesterday it was announced that Tony Khan had let Punk go, and this came as a huge surprise, as despite Punk causing several issues backstage, Punk was without a doubt AEW's biggest draw, and Khan seemed to be his biggest fan. Nevertheless, Khan believed that he had no choice but to let Punk go, and now there's a ton of speculation surrounding Punk's next move, with some wondering if Punk could return to WWE. According to Fightful Select, Punk still has major heat with some of the top names in WWE, so this may influence WWE's interest in bringing back the former WWE champion. Another report on the matter comes from Dave Meltzer, who took to Twitter to state his return would do business. Fox wanted WWE to hire him prior to AEW, and Vince said no at the time. Maybe that would change now. We know that WWE are likely to get an improved offer from the Fox network when their deal expires, so WWE bringing Punk back into the mix would be a smarter power move to make Fox executives happy. Interestingly, Punk did make an appearance backstage in WWE several months ago, and it was said that Punk did interact positively with names such as The Miz and Triple H. As everyone knows, there's no love lost between Punk and these two respective names, so it appeared that Punk wanted to make amends. It would certainly be a huge shocker to see Punk back in WWE, but stranger things have happened in the past. Fans on social media are ruling out a Punk return to WWE, mainly because Vince McMahon evidently has a strong dislike towards him, yet McMahon has brought names back in the past that have seriously wronged him, such as Jeff Jarrett and The Ultimate Warrior. So if there's money to be made, McMahon could easily put all the bad blood behind him. Fightful Select also reported that CM Punk's firing was heavily discussed backstage in WWE. Would you guys like to see CM Punk back in WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, CM Punk's actions heavily toned down. One of the more worrying aspects of the CM Punk firing is that news that Tony Khan thought his life was in danger during a backstage chaos at All In. Whilst it could claim that Khan is exaggerating, Khan was there firsthand, so only he can truly say how he was feeling in that specific moment. It was reported that Punk lunged towards Khan, and whilst this did seem far-fetched, it looks like Punk's actions towards Khan were even worse than wrestling journalists are letting on. Discussing the matter on Wrestling Observer Live, Dave Meltzer stated, "Throughout this whole ordeal, you and I were far too kind to him. That's the reality, we were far too kind. I always tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I always tried to give him his side, but they didn't want to hear it. They just wanted to go, oh, you're after him, and everything like that. Lunging was far too kind. If you saw the actual wording of what was said, I was toning it down. It was more than lunging." This is a concerning report from Meltzer, as there's no excuse whatsoever for Punk to behave in this erratic and aggressive manner. We know that Punk was angry backstage, but took out his frustrations on his own boss in one of the more bizarre and backwards decisions Punk has ever made. Naturally, WWE will hear this report and question if reaching out to Punk is actually a good idea. Punk has had numerous physical altercations backstage over a 12-month period, and not even the boss of an entire company is safe from Punk's wrath. Next up, a meeting between CM Punk and the Elite has been cancelled. Speaking of Punk, we're almost at the 1-year anniversary of the 2022 All Out fiasco, and the new report has surfaced relating to how close AEW were to mending the relationship between Punk and the Elite. Nick Hausman, House of Wrestling, has reported that talks were due to take place between the two sides. It was reported that these so-called talks were set to take place just days before All In, but these were called off at the last minute by the Elite's camp. Hausman's report adds, House of Wrestling has learned that a sit-down with the relevant members of the Elite, CM Punk and Tony Khan, was scheduled to take place last week ahead of AEW All In London, but was called off at the last minute by the Elite's camp. From what we understand, it was going to take place at Atlanta, and Tony Khan would have been present. The summit was intended to bury the handshake between both sides ahead of the historic AEW pay-per-view, and the cancellation of it appears to have added to Punk's overall frustrations with the situation heading into the event. The Elite, despite their corporate role within the company, had no desire to make amends with Punk, as all members of the group evidently have a strong dislike towards him. Next up, a talent meeting goes down at AEW Collision. The AEW roster is no doubt rocked by CM Punk's firing, and Tony Khan thankfully did the right thing before AEW Collision last night. According to Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Khan hosted a talent meeting with the roster, but there was a meeting before the show and everybody was told what happened. This was before Collision tonight, and Tony also went out before the crowd and told them. And the interesting thing is, if you watched the Dynamite show on Wednesday, if you watched the TV version, I did not hear any chants for CM Punk. People who were there said that there were a couple that got booed down on Wednesday. Next up, AEW Erasing CM Punk. And there were countless fan reports of AEW security confiscating fan signs before Collision went on the air last night, so AEW may be looking to take a WWE style approach and act like Punk never existed. This is a daring move, especially this weekend, as AEW is set to present All Out 2023 tonight from Chicago. Fans on social media are firmly expecting the Chicago fans to hijack the show, which may cause 3 hours of problems for the AEW production team. Next up, more CM Punk drama set to leak. Now, believe it or not, there's even more info relating to CM Punk's AEW release that is being kept under wraps. This is what Dave Meltzer had to say on the Observer Radio regarding Punk's release. He got fired over what happened Sunday, but the lawyers and everybody else talked about a lot more than Sunday. They talked about everything, the stuff that comes out, lots of stuff that hasn't come out. I mean, shouldn't it have been sooner? With the benefit of hindsight, of course, it should have been a year ago. But hindsight is always whatever. When he came back, it wasn't going to work. It didn't work. It was a disaster. Let's be serious. It was a disaster. And you know, there's so much more to it than has come out. But a lot of the big stuff has, and the biggest thing what was happened on Sunday, and just can't keep having this stuff happen every second week. I think he had multiple deals. He had a performance contract and an employee contract, I believe. Next up, did CM Punk want out of AEW though? Or whilst the wrestling world eagerly anticipates CM Punk's reaction to his firing, it may come as a surprise to hear that Punk may have wanted out of his AEW deal. According to Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Punk wanted out when he discovered that the Elite had re-signed with AEW. I can't say because I can't get into his brain, but yes, there was a lot of people that thought that when the contract was signed with the Young Bucks, Omega and Page, that he wanted out and that something was going to happen. He thought that because the ratings for Collision was so much lower, I think the one was a bad one, was when Cole and MJF came, the ratings skyrocketed, and when they went back down. That was the one that established that Max and Adam Cole are the draws in the company. It's gonna go down without him. He was the biggest draw on the show. And finally, a WWE top feud continuing. Our final story today takes a look at what's next for reigning WWE World Champion Seth Rollins. Last night's WWE Payback Premium Live event was main evented by Seth Rollins vs Shinsuke Nakamura. Rollins retained his world title in a well-received matchup, and it now looks like WWE will be continuing the feud between the two men. As after Payback went off the air, Nakamura attacked Rollins, so a rematch between the two potentially at Fastlane looks to be on the horizon. There was some discourse relating to whether or not Rollins should have dropped the title last night, but with the feud continuing, there's now even more a possibility that Nakamura could win his first world title in WWE. Are you guys happy to see the feud continue? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.